Coach Strassman here with
Wes, aka Show Dub, Beep Bop.
Be at Beep Bop. Is it Beep Bop?
Beep Bop, B-E-E-P, B-O-O-P, Beep Bop.
Love it. That's a lot of stuff too. We feel like today would be a good day to talk a little bit about the deload. The deload, and I don't, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that like the part in like a strength program where usually like you throw that out? Like you do like 5 sets, 4 sets, 3 sets 1 week, 2 sets 1 week, and then that point where you're supposed to then go back out, do like, do a whole lot less reps, like maybe even just take the week off from doing it and then come back and try to get that 1 rep max.
Right.
And that's where you're supposed to dominate. Isn't that when like, the young version of you just kind of went, dude, why are you wasting my week? Like, it's time to max. Like, let's get the 1, right?
Right. Again, depends on who you talk to and context and all that jazz, but yeah, you're on the right track. I'd say so, you're right. Some sort of dramatic drop in volume, intensity, maybe even exercise selection, or some combination of all three. So let's say you're on a 4-week program, you run something real intense. When you start the next program, maybe that first week is your deload week, or like you're saying, maybe it's been a 6-week program, you're on week 5 is the deload, and then week 6 is like, all right, I'm gonna go for my max or go for broke or jump in volume, intensity, this, that, and the other.
And I think it's really interesting because when you get a chance to train a competitive athlete, or let's say you're training to do something competitive and it's a one-time event. I'll give you a great example, right? So I've had the luxury of being able to work with a pro boxer, or I've had the luxury of being able to work with a power lifter. But nothing was more telling for me in my adult career than when I decided to put my own program together to do a mud run, right? Like, I wanted to do a mud run and I wanted to do it well. So here I was, like, setting myself up to try to gradually get up to running like 6 miles.
Did you outsource your programming or no?
No, it was all me.
All right.
And a lot of it came from like playing around with stuff that I learned from Joel Jamieson, from like an aerobic energy standpoint.
Right.
And at the same time, I was probably a little too heavy involved with, I still had a powerlifting background.
So like barbells a lot.
So it was still hard to give that up, right? But I did to some level. But also I was doing a little rock climbing, right? And I just remember realizing that if I was going to peak, it was so important to be able to train really hard till about almost like a week before, and a little less, it was more like 10 days before. And then trying to chill my programming out and keep my aerobic level up, but at the same time not run at any of the heavier distances, not really tax my body.
Almost like a taper.
Yeah, and that's how I used it, because I felt like, here I was, like it was sort of my fight, right?
Right.
And I realized
that's your event.
And also here's a fun one for you. If you guys if you're listening and you're in Philly, you'll know what I'm talking about. Even if you're not in Philly, you'll kind of get the idea. So I was running for us, the Ben Franklin Bridge.
Okay. Oh, this guy.
And it's elevated, right? So it's elevated, then it's straight, then it's downhill, and you can go both ways on it. But also, when you're running in the summertime, and it's like a hazy day like this, and you've got car exhaust,
can't dissipate heat.
I swear, like the quality of air was awful. And I swear, like when I went out to the Poconos to do this race, and it was like, it went from 92 degrees like the week prior to like 50 degrees in the Poconos with with some rain. It was amazing. Like I couldn't believe how good I felt,
Almost like you had more.
So I felt like that was a big part of it, was just being able to taper off. So that's just the thought process right there too on a deload. Like, I think it's beneficial when you're going into a competitive situation to back off it a little.
Dude, what's interesting too is like the way people approach deloads. Like, some people's deload, again, depending on how often they're training, are they a professional, amateur, like whatever, is they won't do anything. Like, they'll take a week where they don't lift, period. Or let's say they're a basketball player and the NBA season's over, they don't even touch a basketball. They're doing activity, so it doesn't mean completely stop. They're doing stuff, but they're not doing their same level of performance training, whatever it might be. The other way to look at it, which is what like I kind of do, and I consider myself very much so general population now. I mean, I do jiu-jitsu and stuff, but like general average dude.
Doing tournaments?
I'm going to this summer. My wife is gone. I'm going to do some gi and some no gi this summer, no doubt about it. I want to get a few in. I want to bang out a bunch while I'm still blue belt, which will probably be at least a year, if not longer. Anywho, the way like I approach deloads, at least with me, is every program, the first week of the program isn't like directly a deload, but you're figuring out your numbers, your rep schemes, your this, your that, the other. So week 1 is almost kind of like that deload. And then week 2, 3, 4, you're ramping things up again, whether it's the weight, the rep schemes, the volume, this, that, or the other.
Now, do you do like your max week? So like, let's say like it's week 5. Do you do max week 5, and then week 1 is now the deload, or do you do week 5, then you have sort of a week to chill, and then you do a week 1 where it's almost like 2 weeks?
Right. So I run right now for me 4-week programs, and what I do is,
and I have to cut.
Right.
Is this a strength action
It is.
program?
This is
strength?
highly
How about
strength action. This is all right. Todd and Chris do my programming through strength action. I follow it not to the T just because of all the jiu-jitsu stuff, but I follow it pretty much to the T. So we utilize an RPE scale. So like week 1 is the base. Week 2 we dial in RPE
of perceived exertion.
Right, RPE. So 1 through 10, 10 being 100%, 1 being 10%, or you can qualify it like an 8 means I only have 2 reps in the tank, a 10 meaning I have no reps in the tank, etc., etc. But week 1 is base, week 2 is kind of like dial in RPE, so maybe start to up the load or the reps or time under tension, whatever it is. Week 3, there's a drop in volume and a spike in intensity, so an up in RPE. And then week 4, you jack up the volume. So then week 1 of the next program, again, it's the base week, aka an indirect deload. I find it works. I've been running it that way now for 3 years. I mean, I'm nothing special, but I like the way it works.
Yeah, but I think, again, it goes to show, if you've been doing it that long, to a certain level, like if you can show that you've achieved certain results,
right.
it's valuable,
Right.
and that's and there isn't anything wrong. Like, that's probably the worst thing I'd say. Like, so a lot of coaches out there will go, like, a lot of coaches go, well, it works for me, right?
Right.
Well, it really depends. Like, how long have you been doing something?
Right, how long have you been running it? What's the intent?
Yeah, like what's the research behind it, that kind of thing. And I'm not going to say that research is everything too. Like, there are a lot of studies out there that when you look at the population and you go deeper into it, the stuff that's proven, it's kind of hard to say because everybody's different. There's a lot of variables. There's so many variables.
Everyone adapts differently. Like, I got buddies who literally look at a barbell and they get a vein in their bicep.
Yeah,
I have other
so he's
friends,
talking about a responder.
Bingo. Then I got other buddies who put in so much time just to gain 5 pounds of muscle, like every day, all day. So it's, people adapt differently. You got endomorph, ectomorph, mesomorph. When your mom met your dad, predicts performance, all that jazz. So yeah.
It's huge. So I think what we were getting into, just the gist of it is, when we talk about a deload, I guess if you're listening, what do you take from it? Well, this is kind of us just talking shop about a deload, and there's all different kinds of concepts there. But I think maybe the best thing to say for you is if you've been training for a long period of time and you're doing the same thing, or if you're the guy who comes in to the gym 3-4 days out of the week and wants to win every single workout, that might be something to think about is, well, jot down your numbers, understand what winning is, but also just the thought for me is, like, your body needs time to recover, and that's so important. So if you can give yourself time to recover and you have a strategy for that, and you have an idea that we're going to work really hard for X amount of time, and then we're going to give ourselves time to recover, we'll probably get more from it.
Let me plug into that. That would be everything you're saying, which is money. Assuming that person, which is in a good way, on a program.
Right.
Tracking your, like you said, writing down your numbers. What did I do Monday, Wednesday, Friday? Not just, and there's nothing wrong with this. Your average gym rat who just kind of goes in and, that machine's free, I'm going to hop on there and blah, 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 blah. Nothing wrong with that, but there's a lot of benefit to being on a program. There's like week 1, day 2, blah, 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 whatever your split is, whatever your goal is, just that.
Literally takes the guesswork out, and a lot of times you can expedite the results, and that's the thing we also look at too, right? I can't tell you all the time that I'm going to stick to what my program says, right? Because one of the things we gave another talk previously on was on recovery, right? So depending on how recovered you are, maybe you can't do the thing that you had written down for the day, or you have to kind of back off, right? That's the thing I find myself doing in programs. Sometimes it's, you have to scale down,
Right.
But at the same time,
sometimes it's the opposite. Sometimes it's like, I'm feeling good today, let's go.
Yeah, there are times where you look at it and you might say, you know what, I don't know if I'm gonna feel this good all year, so it's time to, I'm maxing today.
I call that the what the hell effect. You just show up to the gym and weights are light and you're feeling good.
So I guess, guys, if there's anything to take from today's talk, I would say that specifically, if you're not on a program, maybe it makes sense to reach out. Again, he's a strength action guy. You guys are going to see this on Instagram, so you want to reach out to me. I'm Coach Strassman. I'm happy to do some programming for you. But at the same time, I think if you're not on a program, then at the very least, maybe start jotting down what you do. You know, maybe that's how you could start a program, start your own program, but really understand what you're trying to accomplish.
And when you jot down what you do if you're not in a program, look at the ratio of how many times you're doing pushing motions versus pulling motions and squat patterns. So like your knee and hip are flexing and extending at the same rate versus hinging patterns. Write that down too.
Hinging, again, that's going to be pretty much leading with the hip to a certain level, whereas when we talk about squat and all, it's a little bit more of a knee dominant, quad dominant patterns. And we'll go with that.
Bingo.
I like that. Cool, guys. Hope it was valuable. We'll do another one of these. I have a feeling you'll see us again.
Make good choices. Stay in school. Don't drink and drive.